Welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. This week we have deGrom to the IL. The Cubs are tearing it down, and the Red Sox Mount Rushmore right now.
9+Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together.
Welcome to this week's regular episode of the Baseball Together podcast, Baseball Family. I am Brad, and as per usual, I have to my right our guy Brig.
Hey.
Hey. All right, we have a lot going on this week. Like I said, eventually we're going to get into our Boston Red Sox Mount Rushmore. However, let's start with this, Brig. We have Jacob deGrom to the IL with forearm tightness.
Ain't that the way?
That worries me considerably, just because that, like we've said, it's a forearm strain or forearm tightness that typically seems to precede Tommy John surgery.
Yeah. Almost every time. It's like without fail. That's the first thing that happens.
Yeah. They're gonna let it go. And I saw this story, and they said that he's not gonna pitch until it's resolved. So they're just gonna wait. They're gonna try to wait it out. But
oh boy,
that's what we hear every time with that.
That's
and eventually it gets to the point. Yeah, eventually it gets to the point where it's like, well, it's not getting better. Let's take a deeper look. Oh shoot, your UCL is torn.
Yeah.
My other thought with this, Brig, was this is not good for baseball at all.
No.
At all.
No, because he's going to be the MVP.
Well, he's the best pitcher in baseball by like 10 miles, right?
Yeah.
And if he's going to be hurt and he's not going to be, I mean, that was like when Kevin Durant missed an entire NBA season with an Achilles. That would be like Tom Brady when he missed. I mean, he wasn't in his prime yet, I don't feel like, even. But when Tom Brady missed almost an entire season because he had a knee injury in the first game, like this is a really big deal for baseball. And unfortunately, I don't feel like there are a lot of fans who really truly appreciate deGrom besides the numbers.
Yeah.
But you've still got Tatis, you've still got Bryce Harper, you've still got a bunch of other guys, and especially Ohtani is finally healthy.
Yeah.
But this is kind of a scary blow for the game of baseball.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like it at all, and I want some resolution, but I want it to be a happy ending, like you said, Brad. I want it to be all about everybody being healthy and being able to play. But as we've seen, that doesn't always go that way. In fact, It doesn't often go that way. And I thought in your list of examples, I was really interested to hear if you said this would be like Michael Jordan trying to play baseball. Shots fired. Just kidding.
Yeah,
it's not quite like that, but
no.
I had to bring it up.
But this is the other thing too. We had Trevor Bauer at the very beginning of the season said that there are going to be a lot of injuries because of the shortened seasons last year, and then going in and trying to play a full season this year.
Yep.
Basically referring to the turnaround, and I mean, so far he's been spot on.
Yeah, he has.
That we've seen a lot of pitching injuries. We've seen just a lot of injuries in general. Mike Trout's been out since like May, something like that. And I don't think he's expected back until August.
Who?
Mike Trout.
Who is he? Who even is that?
I'm not sure. I've kind of forgotten.
That's how it feels, though.
His face looks like. I forgot what his face looks like.
That's how it feels. You're like, who the freak is that? I mean, it's too bad baseball's so fickle with current players, and so interesting because we're so obsessed with former players, right? But when it comes to current players, current heroes, current all-stars, whatever you want to call them, we're like, come on, man, step up to the plate.
I know. So hopefully deGrom, I really hope that it's not Tommy John surgery. I really hope that's not the result of this, but I just every little bit of me is afraid that that's the way this is headed, and it's not going to be good.
No, I agree with you.
All right, we have the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are going home, Brig. It's been a long time since they played a game in Canada, and this is going to be a big deal. July 30th, the Blue Jays are going to be back in Toronto at what is it, Rogers Center these days?
Yeah, the Rogers Center.
like 20 years later, I still want to call it the Sky Dome.
Well,
I
don't
don't
we
know.
all though?
I think
Fine.
we do. But this will be really
Yeah.
good for the Blue Jays. I feel like those guys have been living out of suitcases for 2 years.
I bet they feel that way too. What I'm interested to know is two things. What will their reception be in Canada? How are the fans going to come out? Is this going to be like a big deal thing? Like, I feel like we should have opening ceremonies or something, kind of like in the
Mhm.
Olympics, like, hey, you're
Yeah.
back. I don't know if we'll see anything grand like that. Maybe. Then I think that'd be terrific. But I'm also interested to learn what this does to Buffalo, to the fans there, and how they're going to maybe adapt to this. And I wonder if every year they'll play a series in Buffalo from now on, just as a nod, just pay homage and say thank you. And I mean, which I
Mhm.
think is a cool thing to do as a thank you to the fan base and to the city of Buffalo for putting them up.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. I think that they should. I'm curious. I mean, you talk about the fans coming out. I don't know what the rule is going to be for fans even attending games right now.
Right?
Because the article that I read said that they were getting some kind of exemption to be able to play in Toronto. So,
Oh,
I don't know if it's still going to be empty when they're there, and then it's just going to be players, staying at the hotel there in the stadium, which is a bucket list item, by the way.
no doubt.
That I yeah I'm curious what it's going to be like, if it's just going to be like a continuation of the pandemic season in Toronto, and then once they finally do get fans there, have some kind of opening day 2.0. That's what they called it in Seattle when
Yeah.
when they're allowed to have full capacity again. But it's a big deal, though. It's good. I'm excited for the Blue Jays. It'll be good for them to be back home. It's good for the fans in Canada, and
100%
like you said,
agree.
something to keep an eye on going forward, what they're going to do with how they're going to treat Buffalo. We had something that, I mean, so for those of you who don't know, which is most of you, probably all of you, Brig was at my house last week. It was very exciting. He just showed up at my doorstep. I had no idea he was coming. So we were hanging out for a few
Supplies.
days. Yeah. So we were hanging out for a few days. And one of the things that happened while we were hanging out was we both got a notification on our phone that said Joc Pedersen was traded from the Cubs to the Braves. What?
Oh, we were so confused. We're looking at
We're
each other like,
so
what?
confused.
Did you see? Am I the only one who is
Yeah.
this some kind of elaborate hoax?
It's insane. So unexpected. And I mean, it was right before games started again after the All-Star break. And it, it got the wheels turning for both of us. Who's next?
Right.
How much are the Cubs going to tear this thing down? So Brig, who do you think is next?
KB, and I think he's going to New York.
The Yankees or the Mets?
Well, I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. But I can see him in either team.
I could. Yeah, that would make sense. Um, I saw somebody propose a trade from the Mariners to between the Mariners and the Cubs the other day, and I was like, yeah, right, because it was like a Mariners like fan site, like one of those
Yeah.
SB Nation sites or something like that, and so I was like, okay, you got me, I'll bite. And I looked at it. I don't remember who the two guys were that the Mariners were sending with cash to the Cubs, but I was like, not outside of the realm of possibility. I mean, I don't think it's
Right.
gonna. I'm not saying I think it'll happen, but that was one of the better trade proposals that I've ever seen, because they're two top level prospects, both outfielders, and I think there was like a large amount of cash, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I saw it. And I was like, I've seen much worse fan trade proposals than what I saw there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Okay,
So
here's my question. Do you bring in KB to play right field, or do you try and rehab him for the hot corner?
Honestly, the outfield in Seattle, like, are you talking about in Seattle or just in general?
In general, like if you're going to trade for Chris Bryant, are you going to try and rehabilitate him for third base, or are you going to keep him in the outfield?
Well, we saw him live and in person in right field on Friday night,
We did.
and he looked like a pretty darn good outfielder to me.
He was killing it.
And I feel like guys age better in the outfield, especially in right field, than they do at third base.
Right.
And if that helps his bat, I'd keep him in the outfield,
Sure.
honestly. And if I'm an American League team, I am pushing as hard as I can for him to trade for him as a DH at
That
the
makes
very
sense.
least.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, who does that eliminate then? I mean, there's a mess of teams that aren't going to need that. And
Right.
your proposal eliminates the entire National League.
It does, yeah. But I do think a National League team can trade for him as an outfielder still.
Yeah, and he's
So
entirely capable.
and quite honestly, there should be 29 teams calling the Cubs right now trying to make this deal
Yeah.
because
The
he's
other name
still an
that came up,
all-star.
yeah, you're right. He's still all-star quality. The other name that came up in our discussion was Anthony Rizzo. And we started asking our Red Sox fans, particularly Mike Farnes, we're like, dude, do you think the Sox are going to try and bring him back into the family? Because, he came up in the Red Sox organization.
Mm-hmm.
And what's his name? Dahlbeck is their
Yeah.
first baseman over there right now. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that the value proposal is right for Boston. I mean, everything's banging on all cylinders in Boston right now. Why would they change anything? Honestly,
Though, I do feel like if I'm the Red Sox, I would look around and say, what's our weakest link? What is our weakest position defensively? What is our weakest position offensively? And if it syncs up, I'd make a deal. And I
of
don't know
course,
that Dahlbach is necessarily the weakest link, but he's definitely the weakest name on that team.
he is, and they only have one first baseman on the entire roster, and that's him.
Right. Yeah, they do. I'm trying to figure out when the current owners bought the team because I don't think there's anybody like very, very top to the very bottom of that organization who was there when Rizzo was in the system.
No,
Because Epstein
not
wasn't. I
since
think they had,
Epstein's gone.
yeah, and I think they even have new owners since then, don't they?
I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to find out right now is when these owners bought the team. Because
Yeah,
if
I don't
that's
know.
if it was before what 2014, if it was after 2014, something like that,
Yeah,
then he's literally nobody. So
because Epstein brought him to the Cubs when he moved over. That was part of his
yeah,
game
yeah.
plan.
Okay, so I'm like way off on my timeline there. The Red Sox were purchased in 2002, so the owners
Oh.
were still there, but that's really it. But
Oh man, that's funny.
that is funny. But yeah, so that's really it though. I mean, front office organization, coaching staff,
Yeah.
everybody has turned over since then. I mean, it might be the same club, but that's about it. And I don't know that Rizzo even got to know that guy.
No, I agree. But I do
But I
think it
think it
would be
makes
kind
sense.
of it makes sense and whether it makes sense cohesion wise or money wise, I don't know. No, I have no idea. But
Yeah,
I
and
think
I don't
that
even know who the Red Sox would trade, to be honest with you.
and that's the real question. It would have to be prospects and cash and conditions,
Mhm.
player to be named later, that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
And who would you move out of your roster? What kind of depth hit are you going to take anyway? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I will say this, though. Even if you wanted to keep Dahlbach at first base, you've got a pretty good DH with Rizzo.
Well, and that's not a bad point. It's not a bad point at all.
That's the thing about the American League with the DH is you've got a little bit more flexibility with guys. You can
Yeah.
bring in a guy here like, we've got the depth figured out there, but we could always use a better DH. So
No doubt. Well, and then he rotates in once or twice a week at first base. That's not going to hurt anybody.
yep, exactly right. Yeah, because you got a Gold Glover there. So
Totally. No, I like it, but I'm not, I want the tradition. I want the story. I don't, it might make sense in baseball terms, but I want the story. I want Rizzo back in the or in the system he came up in. That's all.
yeah, and I can see that, and I don't know. I feel like the move just makes sense though as well. But anyway, speaking of the Red Sox, though, the Red Sox were playing in New York this weekend. And Alex Verdugo, he's an outfielder for the Red Sox, he typically plays center field, I believe. It looked like he might have been in left when this happened. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, A fan. So he tossed a ball into the stands to a red. He said he was throwing it to a Red Sox fan. A Yankee fan caught it, and I'm assuming by the time he tossed it, he had turned around and was heading back to the dugout. And sounds like the fan threw it back at him and hit him with it.
Yep. That's exactly what happened.
So there was a whole lot of yelling, a whole lot of cussing, and a whole lot of finger pointing, and eventually they caught the guy, and they, rather than arresting him, which it doesn't make sense to me why he wasn't arrested, because that seems like something you would get arrested for, but he was removed from the stadium and banned for life from all 30 stadiums by MLB. That is a good move. The only concern I have, Brig, is how do you enforce that?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, it's really easy to be like, banned for life. You can never come to a Major League Baseball game. Okay, how are you going to stop me? Well, that's where it gets fuzzy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to exercise my authority, so I just
it's not
no
like
real
they give
plans,
security...
just ideas.
yeah. That's how MLB operates. But it's not like they give security like a book of like, these people are all banned for life. Memorize these faces. If they come through these doors, send them away.
Shoeless
Joe
like Jackson,
Pete Rose, and this Yankee fan.
This douchebag. No, sorry. You're gonna have to mute that. Sorry.
Yeah, I will. but yeah, like, I don't know. Like I said, it's easy to say, it's more difficult to enforce it, but it's visually, it's the right move, right? I mean, it's super
optics wise. Yeah.
Yeah, optics wise. I don't know.
But honestly, it's just one more piece of history in the Yankees Red Sox rivalry. And I thought it was really interesting. The Yankees tried to save face by saying this is ridiculous, and we don't condone this kind of behavior at our stadium, and yada yada yada. We all know the Yankees fans are the nastiest in baseball. Like, we all know that, right? And if it was going to happen
honestly
anyway,
between the Yankees and the Red Sox fans, I mean, that's another rivalry they have, is who's worse.
It's true.
They both have a really bad reputation. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, but I think that the Red Sox fans are much more accommodating, and they don't push it to violence as often as I hear about it with Yankees fans. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think, and maybe they do it outside the ballpark, and it's not inside the ballpark. They're like, let's get out on they changed the name of the avenue or whatever, but let's get out there in the street, and then we'll throw down. Like, but in New York, they're like, come at me, bro. I don't know. I know we're glossing over it and broad stroking things here, but at the same time, there's stereotypes for a reason. So.
Well, and Aaron Boone did say that he hoped that guy was arrested, which is easy for him to say, but it does, I feel like, go a long way for him to back up not just his own players, but the players in the league, with something like that going on. Yeah,
I agree.
All right, Brig. So I kicked your butt this weekend at MLB The Show 21. Do you think I have a shot at entering this tournament that you've got on here?
Not that you've offended me now. No, I was just going to say no. No, so while I was out there with Brad, we did play MLB The Show, and I wouldn't say you kicked my butt, Brad.
I didn't kick your butt. No, I didn't. You're right.
At least one of the times I held my own. But MLB The Show is doing a 2021 summer circuit tournament thing, whatever they're calling it with words. And what it's going to be is 3 open qualifying tournaments. And anybody who's 18 or older in the United States and Canada who has a copy of MLB The Show can enter the tournament. Now, what happens is these 3 dates, July 24th, August 7th, and August 21st, are the 3 dates that you can join the open free-for-all qualifiers. The top 64 participants across all 3 open qualifiers are going to be eligible for the grand final tournament, which is going to be a single elimination bracket. I think there's a semifinal round in there as well that's single elimination. But the point is, there's up to a total $25,000 cash prizes, a bunch of in-game benefits and different things like that you can unlock, stuff like that. So there might even be game tickets that you can get to go to live baseball games. and it seems really cool. So for those of you who do play MLB The Show 21, those of you who are interested and didn't know about it, now you know. Just thought it'd be fun for our audience to hear that there's a way to maybe make a little money playing MLB The Show. And if you enter the tournament, we want to know. If you win, we want to know, and
we
we'll
want to
have you
cut.
on the show.
Oh,
No,
we'll have you
wait,
cut. Okay.
we don't want to cut, but we'll have you on the show, and we want to hear about your experience. So I think that'd be really fun. So let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and it's free to enter, right? All you have to do is get on
Yeah.
and play. Is that right?
Yep. Oh, that's my understanding anyway. The details are a little bit scant, and maybe it's just that I don't speak online gaming tournament language, which is true. But at the same time, like I didn't see anything said it was pay to play. So
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead and play. Let us know if you do, like Rick said. We'll get you on the show. I
yeah,
think
it'd be awesome.
if you give it a try, let us know. We'll bring you on because I think that's cool. That's a lot of fun. All right, last thing we
That's
have here,
cool.
Brig. We have what is believed to be the first all-female broadcast team for a Major League Baseball game. And this is happening for those of you listening on the first day this episode is released. This is today, Tuesday, July 20th. It is MLB's YouTube Game of the Week, the Orioles versus the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yep. Yeah,
So
it's
we
really
have one here.
exciting.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really exciting. Brad and I have kind of been covering the women in baseball thing pretty heavily over the last couple of years. Anytime there's an update in that, we want to know about it. We both have daughters, and we're both excited that MLB is kind of opening up to more legitimate, wonderful, open, very public positions, right? For different types of people, particularly women. So Melanie Newman is going to be the play-by-play announcer. She broadcasts for the Orioles right now. She'll be backed up with analysis by Sarah Langs. Alana Rizzo will be the on-field reporter. And then Heidi Watney and Lauren Gardner are going to be on the pre- and post-game shows. So it's super exciting, Brad. What are your thoughts on this?
It is. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, we've talked in the past about how, you mentioned just now about how we both have daughters, and I look forward mostly for Olivia to have opportunities like this, just because my daughter is special needs, so she's not going to have these kind of opportunities. But I do understand, though, the desire of a father to want his daughter to succeed and do well in whatever she wants to do. If Olivia, because she's obviously going to be brought up in a household that's strong in baseball, and if she
Yeah.
gets to be college age and beyond, decides, I want to work in baseball. These women are opening the doors for her to be able to do that and do it on her own terms. I think it's awesome. I think it's really great that this is going on. I typically watch and listen to I watch the YouTube Game of the Week. I can't stand one of the typical broadcasters they have, so I have it on I have it on mute. But
Right.
I'll actually turn this one up and listen just to see how it goes. I'm really curious.
I am too, and it's historic. And I bet you, the larger fan base likes it more than they expect to. It's what I anticipate happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone that way every time. We've had kind of a new change like this, and it's always a little bit refreshing. One thing I will say, Brad, is that was it a Sarah Langs that began as a blogger? Wasn't she a Mets blogger?
Yeah, she started on the Mets blog, and she just kind of worked her way up through local channels, ended up at ESPN, and now she's with MLB. I think that's really cool. So,
Isn't that amazing?
Don't poo-poo the blogs, right?
No. And don't knock the hustle.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
She knew what she wanted, and she was getting after it.
If you've got the chops and the hustle, go with it. You'll make it to where you want to be, and she's exhibit A of that. And we've seen it all. I mean, I'd say in the last 10 to 15 years in the sports world in general, we've seen a lot of that. For anybody who knows who Bill Simmons is, he's the owner of The Ringer, used to be at the ESPN. He used to have a blog so long ago that I don't think it was even on the internet. What he did was he would write his blogs and email them to his friends, and they'd email them to their friends and their friends, and they'd pass it around. Eventually, he did get a website. He got bigger. ESPN picked him up, and that's how he found his success. He wanted to be a writer, and from what I remember, he was hanging around newsrooms, but not really finding any success. Nobody's really giving him a shot. He was kind of getting people coffee, hoping to get assignments, and And here he is. He's one of the richest guys in sports, in
That's cool.
sports media.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you are, just as long as you got the hustle and the chops to do it, you'll find your spot. And I think that we've seen a few examples of that. And looking at one right here with Sarah Langs. So super cool. And I mean, this is the thing. We've talked about this before. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. You know,
Yeah.
what was it you said, Brig? You're not done until you're not willing to work hard enough to get it, or something like that.
Yeah. And if they're dumb enough to hire you, you're smart enough to figure it out.
There you go. Yep,
That's what I actually always say. Now, let me throw a disclaimer out there. We're two white dudes, right? So we know that we benefit from a ton of privilege and don't understand some of the things that we say may be offensive to certain demographics. You know what I mean? We're doing the best we can to give you our honest opinion. And if we've said anything that makes anybody upset about these women really breaking the mold here and doing some great things, then please let us know. Drop it in the mailbag and say, hey, change the language. This is how we prefer you talk about, women moving up or different disadvantaged people or different demographics that might not always get the attention that everyone else gets, or whatever it is. If you ever hear us say anything like that, we're really trying to be as inclusive and as respectful of all types of people as we can. So drop us a line in the mailbag and we'll be sure to address it.
100%. Thanks for that, Brig. I really appreciate that. And with that, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we are going to get to a previously recorded segment of our Red Sox Mount Rushmore.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back with me. Root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Shop kids' baseball shirts at 9pluss.com.
Welcome back, baseball family. Today we're going to go through another one of our Mount Rushmores. Today we're going to go through the Boston Red Sox. Before we do that, though, let's introduce the Red Sox a little bit. This is a very storied franchise. Been around since, one of my favorite things from How I Met Your Mother, Brig, is when Barney goes to lecture Ted.
Yeah.
He says, Ted, since the dawn of time. That's how he starts it all the time. And to me, the Red Sox feel like they've been around since the dawn of time. And, I know it's only been since 1901, but there's been so much that goes along with the curse of the Bambino. That was 100 years almost.
No, it was 100. Yeah,
it
was almost 100 years.
Almost 100 years. It was like 90 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it feels like that's something that's been around forever, and so have the Red Sox. So let's do this first. Like I said, since 1901, that puts them in their 121st season. Actually started out as the Boston Americans until 1907. Then 1908 switched to the Boston Red Sox. Overall record of 9,632 wins, 8,947 losses. That is a winning percentage of .518. 24 playoff appearances, 14 pennants, 9 World Series titles, and half of those have come since 2004.
Yeah,
right?
They really have.
Yeah, so a franchise that toiled in mediocrity and below averagity. There's a new word for it.
I like that. Yeah, that's nice.
For nearly 100 years has now become incredibly dominant in this century.
Absolutely.
And I'm waiting for them to make another trade. Maybe the next curse will be the Mookie Betts curse.
Ooh. Who's getting cursed?
The Red Sox.
Red Sox.
Yeah, because that was a deal that fans were not happy about.
No.
It made sense. Maybe like the Babe, the deal with the Babe, maybe it made sense at the time, but it didn't end well.
I don't think the Mookie Betts made sense. The deal made sense at all.
Really?
Mm-mm.
No, because to me, so the way it works out is you can be over the over the luxury tax threshold for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And then that third year, it really starts to like become like a major punishment.
It is huge.
And they were in that year.
Yeah.
And so they had to get his salary off the books.
Well, I understand that. I think letting go of a talent like that is absurd.
Trouble. It's trouble.
Yeah, it's absurd. The Boston Red Sox in their history have 11 retired numbers, by the way, which is a statistic that I love. That includes Jackie Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to get into our picks for names, personalities, however you want to call it, that you cannot tell the Boston Red Sox story without. That's kind of how I start my search.
Mm-hmm.
And Brad, I would like to know who's taking a spot on your list.
Okay, I'm going to start with the Super Dad. That's what I'm going to call one, is the Super Dad.
Yeah.
He's a left fielder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to get right into. He's the last guy to bat 400. I got Ted Williams.
Yeah, I got Ted Williams.
Yeah, I assumed you would. I thought we'd just get it out of the way.
Yeah, you're smart.
So Ted Williams is a Hall of Famer, 2-time MVP, 2-time Triple Crown winner, 19-time All-Star, 6-time batting title, 5 times Major League Player of the Year.
Wow.
And probably will forever hold the title as the last guy to bat 400.
Yeah, he probably will.
Yeah, I don't see anybody else doing that. Hit 406 in 1941. That's
insane.
The magic number that is. It's unobtainium is what it is.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. Well, and he sits 14th overall in career WAR.
That doesn't surprise me. Somebody
14.
who's that great of a hitter.
121.9 is his career WAR. Yeah. So, offensively though, if you take just his offensive WAR, he's 6th of all time.
And that makes sense because you know what? He is the all-time leader in on-base percentage.
Yeah.
482.
And on base plus slugging. He's in second place. He's right up there at the top.
Yeah.
Isn't this crazy? I mean, we're talking about a guy that you can't tell the baseball story without.
Yeah, no, for real. And when I was pretty young when I learned about the significance of 400 and who Ted Williams was.
Yeah.
And for somebody who, I wasn't even a teenager, I might have been like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
For a 9 or 10-year-old to learn about that and to remember it and be able to understand the significance, because your dad says, so look at this guy right here.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get on base. He's batting 325,
Right.
And it feels like he gets on base every day. That and the DiMaggio 56 game hitting streak. Those are
storied. You can't get away from them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So this is something that's cool. So not only is Ted Williams an American hero because of baseball, he is literally an American hero because of his military service. He served 3 years in the military during World War II. So like everybody else, just about, he took that time off from baseball.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then in 1946, he came back and he won the MVP. He slugged .667. 342 batting average, and led the league with a 497 on base percentage.
Yep.
All the guy did was get on base.
All he did was win.
All he did was win, no matter what.
You're right. Yep.
Yep.
Ted Williams, a name you cannot escape when talking about the Red Sox, and we're very happy about that.
Baseball in general, let's be real.
Correct. Well, okay, I'm going to jump into my next one then, since we've overlapped yet again.
Of course.
I'm going to get into my my no-brainer.
Okay.
We're talking about a designated hitter, first baseman.
I know who it is.
Do you?
Yeah.
6'3", 230 pounds. 10-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, 7-time Silver Slugger Award, ALCS MVP, and the World Series Most Valuable Player, David Ortiz.
David Ortiz. Yeah, I have Big Papi on my list too.
His
bigness.
His bigness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. 55.3 career WAR, 8,640 at-bats, 2,472 hits, 541 home runs, a career batting average of .286. With a whopping 17 stolen bases.
That's quite a bit for a guy that
for his
size.
Bigness.
Yeah. And, I wonder how many of those he's on the back end of a double steal.
That's right.
He's on first base and he's got somebody on second. He's still on third. He's taking trotting into second. But if that's the case, I'd probably throw down to second and get him out instead of try third base.
Right.
You know?
A little bit of a wild throw, maybe ended up in the under the tarp. He's
or how many of those were overthrows into center field?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Swing and a miss on a hit and run.
Yeah.
Wild throw into center field, and he's standing on second base.
And he's like, I'm just going to scoot this way real quick.
Just like that. Yeah. So you mentioned World Series MVP.
Mm-hmm.
He was. It wasn't 2004. It wasn't 2007.
Right.
It was 2013.
Right.
When it was a 37-year-old season.
Yeah. So,
and the thing that goes along with that, to me, is that it's not just the fact that he's 37. It's that he was an integral part in 2004.
Yeah.
2007.
Yeah.
But his biggest role was as a team leader.
Yeah.
A veteran and an experienced guy who's like, I've already won 2 World Series. Let me carry the weight here, and he did.
Yeah.
So super cool. I actually have one more guy on my one more modern player on my list.
So do I. I can't tell you who it is.
Yeah. I bet it's the same guy.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But no,
his bigness played 14 years with the Red Sox, right? 20 years total in the league, and he's going down in history.
I always forget. I shouldn't say I always forget, but there was a long time I did not know that he spent 6 years in Minnesota.
Exactly.
And it's funny because he was kind of like toiling as like a borderline defensive liability guy at first base, and then he goes to Boston, and at the time, that was the Theo Epstein years.
Yep.
I wonder if it was just a player development thing.
Could have been
that he saw what he was good at.
Yeah.
And said, "This is what we're gonna do with you.
Here's your new role." Yep. Yeah. Fit right into the new system.
Then he was top 5 in the MVP voting. After his first year in Boston, he was top 5 in the MVP voting for the next 5 years, actually.
Yeah, and an All-Star pretty much every year. 2009 he was not. 14 and 15 he was not. But otherwise, from 2004 to 2016 he was an All-Star every year but 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrific choice, my friend.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Yeah. Baseball family, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into the final remaining slots on our list. We're hoping they don't entirely overlap, but they may.
No matter which ballpark you're at, you want to rep your team. Now you can with 9+ Us. Welcome to the Big City Series. With every design available in your team's colors, you can fit in with the home crowd or stand out on the road. Either way, we have the colors you crave. Shop the Big City Series and find designs that rep your favorite baseball podcast, cheer from the cheap seats, and much more. Shop the Big City Series only at 9plusus.com.
Thanks for taking a quick break with us, baseball family. We're just going to jump right into the next names on our list for the Boston Red Sox Mount Rushmore. And, we've overlapped twice now, so I'm a little bit worried about what might happen. This is unprecedented waters. We've not been here before.
Not on the first 2.
Right.
Yeah,
we've overlapped before.
And then like the 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, but I think 3 out of 4 is the highest we've ever gone, and I'm a little worried we're going to go for 4.
Me too.
Okay. All right. The next guy on my list, left fielder and first baseman, Hall of Famer, already in the Hall of Fame. MVP, Triple Crown, 18-time All-Star, 7-time Gold Glove winner, 3 batting titles.
Carl Yastrzemski.
Carl.
Yes.
The Yaz. Yes, sir. Are you kidding me? Is he on your list? Yes, he is. Major League Player of the Year. He was an All-Star Game MVP, career WAR 96.5, at-bats a whopping 11,988. He is in the 3,000 hits club, home runs 452, batting average lifetime 285, 168 stolen bases. I like that stat.
Yeah.
He played with Boston for 23 years.
Well, this is the thing that I think is impressive. An All-Star every year from 1965 to 1979.
Yeah.
Every stinking year.
Every single one.
And you can't go without saying that his grandson plays for the Giants, Mike Yastrzemski,
Currently.
which is super cool.
Yeah.
Last year or 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, when the Giants played at Fenway, there was a big to do, which there should have been.
Of course,
because Yaz is a Red Sox icon.
Yes.
You truly can't tell the story of the Red Sox without Yaz. But of course, they had to say he's the first Yastrzemski to play left field since his grandfather
on a Thursday in Fenway.
Yeah, because it's such a common last name.
Yeah. Well, what was cool was the two of them got to walk left field at Fenway together.
Yeah.
And can you imagine the stories that guy was telling, and the actual the legitimate questions that Mike has asked?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, from growing up, and I'm sure. And it's so weird to think about that. Like growing up, I'm sure the questions weren't, how does that ball bounce off that wall?
Mm-mm.
How does the ball bounce off the monster?
Right.
Until that day,
Yeah.
standing there, Grandpa, can you tell me about if the ball hits there, how does it carom?
Yeah.
How does the ball bounce off the wall?
Yeah.
Completely different field of questions, and just more about, I'm sure, about the experience, his experience. And I know nothing about this because I'm just speculating strictly. But,
yeah, of course.
But still, that would be a conversation that I would have loved to have ears in.
Couldn't you see him saying, all right, there I was, standing there. Here comes Mickey Mantle or whatever. You know what I mean? That would be amazing.
Yeah, just absolutely awesome. And it's funny because one of my favorite columnists in the country is Greg Cody with the Miami Herald.
Yeah.
He's super funny. And he is stuck on Yaz.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ask him, who's the best baseball player ever? Yaz. It's Yaz.
Really?
Yaz.
Just refuses to.
He grew up on the Red Sox, and Yaz is his hero. It's always Yaz.
It doesn't matter who. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. That's super, super cool.
Yeah.
No, it was fun for me to get to research Yaz a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a name that you come across constantly, but you just don't know, right? Until you really start looking. Did you know he's number 2 all-time in games played?
I didn't know that, but it makes sense after 23 seasons. Well, look, this is something I thought was cool, and it might be just like the Lifetime Achievement Awards,
Of cumulative stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that he was an all-star in 1982 and 1983 as well in his 42 and 43-year-old seasons.
Yeah.
Like I said, Griffey was retired the year his last year, and he was leading he's leading outfielders and vote getters.
That's right.
You don't even have to play to be voted to the All-Star game technically.
Sure.
But he was an all-star 42-43 season, but he still played 119 games his last year at age 43.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is outstanding. So,
and not necessarily as a DH.
Right.
He's still out in the field.
Still out in left field as a 43-year-old man.
In Boston.
That doesn't happen anymore. That won't happen anymore, especially somebody in the American League. He would be strictly the DH.
That's right. That's exactly right. Career all-time, 3rd on the career all-time list for at-bats. And he's plate appearances, which is a little bit of a different statistic. He's got number 2 all-time. Pretty cool.
That is cool.
I love it.
That's really cool. I like it a lot. And you know what's something that's kind of crazy to think about? Is that if he had started 2 years earlier, that his career would have stretched into 3 decades.
Exactly.
And that's big.
That's almost unheard of. We should look that up and see who has.
Yeah, who stretched the longest across decades. So
okay, all right.
Carl Yastrzemski, number 3 for both of us.
Jeez.
The moment of truth, number 4. I'm just gonna go into this one, Brig.
You should.
So this is a guy who actually started his career not in Boston with an organization that we actually are very familiar with these days, the Dodgers.
Okay.
And then he went to Canada to play with the Expos.
Yeah.
He came to Boston in 1998, where, if you ask me, he had his best years. This is why. He had a major role in the 2004 World Series. Mm-hmm. Mr. Pedro Martinez.
Oh.
Did you have Pedro?
I do not.
Okay, good.
Yeah. He was one of the next ones on my list, though.
Yeah, so I don't feel like you can tell. So, I was looking at the 2004 World Series because that is a critical part in Red Sox history now. I'm sure you watched every game of that World Series, of that playoff run.
Absolutely. Had to.
I mean, having to get the monkey off the back in the ALCS.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but also overcoming 3-0 against your Yankees.
Yeah.
So like that was like the breakthrough.
Mad props.
I think that alone it's almost like the salt of the shoulder or whatever, like the ritual that broke the curse.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you have to overcome something major to break a curse like that, and that was it.
It was huge.
That's what it took. They weren't going to do it any other way.
It had to be the hardest way possible, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Pedro Martinez, to me, was a major player in that. The other guy I thought about was Curt Schilling, but he was kind of a mercenary.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I don't feel like he could go on the Mount Rushmore there. But so Pedro Martinez, he is in the Hall of Fame, deservingly so.
Yep.
3-time Cy Young Award winner, Triple Crown winner, 8-time All-Star, 2004 World Series champion, 5-time ERA title, All-Star MVP, all at 5'11", 170 pounds. This guy slinging heat at 5'11".
I love that.
Kids, don't ever let anybody tell you you're too short.
Yes.
Because if you can get your mechanics right, you can do it. You can do it well.
You can do anything.
And
that's right.
And Pedro was a clinic mechanically.
He really was.
Perfect.
I love listening to him talk about pitching.
Yes.
I still can't get over when he threw Zim on the ground though. Like, that has nothing to do with this conversation necessarily. I have to say, I'm still not over it. And that's okay. It's fine.
And so I've always looked at that, not so much that he threw him on the ground, that he helped him to the ground.
Oh, sure.
Because Zim was not. He was going to miss.
He was going down.
He was going down.
He was going down. Yeah, you're right. Just grab him by the head, the back of his head, and help him to the ground. Is that how you help people to the ground?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. Depends on the situation.
Yeah, that's right. All right. All right.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to say about Pedro?
No, I mean, I feel like Pedro Martinez is a pretty self-explanatory guy. Like I said, a critical part in the Red Sox history. They would not have won the World Series if it wasn't for him. 100%. He wasn't an All-Star that year.
Yep.
He was 32, and it wasn't particularly a great regular season for him. But that playoff run, he was dominant.
Yeah. He
was dominant, and for a guy to have that big of a role in a World Series win, that's that big of a deal in the franchise.
Yeah.
Automagic.
Okay. Now this is Brad coming at us with no real buckets he's trying to fill. That's right. He just feels good about these picks.
Yep.
I have a little bit of a system.
In my cockles.
In the cockles
of my heart.
They warmed them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty intense for a pirate to have warm cockles. I'm not gonna lie. So, baseball family, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more just as a reminder about my process. I have a no-brainer pick, I have a stat leader pick, I have a transcendent pick, and I have a fan favorite. So today, David Ortiz was my no-brainer. Carl Yaz is my stat leader. Teddy Williams is my transcendent pick. And for my fan favorite, I got to give it to a guy who also won the MVP. 4-time All-Star, 2 World Series titles, 4 Gold Gloves, 1 Silver Slugger, Wilson's overall Defensive Player Award, Rookie of the Year, second baseman, the Laser Show, Dustin Pedroia. Absolutely, in my opinion, talk about a fan favorite. You cannot have a fan favorite list without Dustin Pedroia. 14 years with the organization. We know that 18 and 19 were incredibly terrible years for him. Super hard. There's a lot of speculation as to why the Yankees are not also far from that conversation, which I think adds to his story, honestly, as a fan favorite Red Sox. So, but I mean, this guy's awesome. He's and to your point about just get your technique down, right? Just do your thing better than anybody else. This guy is 5'9", 170 pounds. And watching him play is special.
Yeah.
It always has been. I remember when he came onto the scene, my dad, big Red Sox fan. My dad's been a Red Sox fan forever. He literally drugged me to the television and said, he paused it because he had DVR at the time. This was back in 2006, right? So I was just getting out of high school. It was my senior year of high school. And he said, come here, you got to sit down and watch this kid hit this ball. Because when Dustin Pedroia swings the bat, it's all in.
Dude, it looks like the bat's swinging him.
Yeah.
The way he swings it.
Sometimes, right? Sometimes. But he brought that level of intensity. He brought that level of gamesmanship. He brought that level of integrity to every single at-bat, every single play. I never saw him loaf one time. The dude is my guy. If I had to pick my guy in Boston over the last 20 years, it's Dustin Pedroia. No questions asked. I love Dustin Pedroia.
I think that's a solid choice. I like it a lot. He was in my top 6.
Yeah.
I had to narrow when I was narrowing down. And I love telling the story about how I was introduced to who Dustin Pedroia was.
Okay.
Because I had my brother-in-law bought me MLB The Show in 2007.
Okay.
And Pedroia was called up, made his big league debut in 2006, but he was in AAA on that game. I did the road to the show.
Yeah,
And I was like, well, I want my guy to be on a good team, so I chose the Red Sox. And I was actually a pretty big Red Sox fan at the time. I liked everybody who was on that team. I liked what they were doing. And that was like my winning team, my like bandwagon team that I was cheering for,
Sure. I did not know that about you.
Yeah. That was not something I'm really that proud of because
That
it goes against everything I believe in.
It does.
But so that was part of the reason I chose the Red Sox. But he was the second baseman on the Paw Sox team that my player was playing on, and my player batted behind him in the batting lineup.
Oh, okay.
So it was pretty cool. I was like, Dustin Pedroia, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And then turns out I see him win Rookie of the Year in 2007 and MVP in 2008. I was like, I know who he is.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was a lot of fun to see that. So I have to do this real quick because so 5'9", he's 69 inches tall, right?
Yeah.
He swings a 33-inch bat. I love doing this kind of math. That's almost half his height.
Yeah.
48% of his height.
Yeah.
That's why it looked like that bat swung him.
Yeah. Well, and rightly so. I'll tell you, when he came and did a rehab assignment here in Greenville, it was pandemonium. And it was good. Good thing it was before the pandemic because that place was packed.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And when he stepped onto the field for any reason at all, even if he had gone to pick up a piece of trash, we all got on our feet. We all were cheering and whooping and hollering, and it was like a sitting president was in the stadium. It was incredible. He played great, super smooth. I can't imagine sitting in the dugout with him and learning and being mentored just for that couple of games. That would be incredible.
Yeah, really cool. That would be a big deal for those guys.
Totally.
Especially the guys in AAA who have been told like, well, you're not going to get above this level.
Yeah.
And for him to be able to say, this is what it takes. If somebody tells you you're too small,
yeah,
this is what you need to do. How do you play bigger than what you are?
And that's that X Factor clubhouse guy stuff that we love to talk about. And for that reason, he's my number 4 on my list.
Excellent choice.
14 years with the Boston Red Sox. And I hope that he comes back in a coaching role or something in the front office. I hope he stays with the organization and they continue to get a lot of benefit out of him because I think he has a lot to give. I think his career ended a little bit early. He was 35 and he had more.
Well, it's basically a career-ending injury.
It was. I understand that.
Yeah. And I wonder if we're going to see him step away for a while because I'm sure he's not happy about the way it ended.
Oh, no.
He can't be as a competitor.
Totally.
If we're going to see him step away from baseball for a little while and then maybe come back after, around the time that he's Hall of Fame eligible.
Yeah.
Not so much as like a campaign.
No, he won't need to.
No, I don't think he'll need to campaign.
No.
But I think more as like okay, I'm ready.
And I don't know if he'll get into the Hall of Fame on voting. It's going to depend on who he's up against those years.
Yeah, who's on the ballot.
But the Culture Club is going to get him in for sure.
For sure. And what's crazy is like we were looking at the ballot coming up for this year.
Yeah.
And it's weak.
It's really bad.
So he might just get in because he's up against a weak field.
And see, that's what I'm saying. So I think he'll end up in the Hall. I think it's going to be one of those two scenarios.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Those are the only two options.
Well, but I mean,
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah, you're right.
If he doesn't get voted in, the Culture Club will put him in for sure.
They will put him in for sure.
Yeah.
And if he does get voted in, it will likely be because there's a little bit of a weaker class that he's up against.
Yeah,
That's it. That's all.
I think you're right.
But I'm telling you, this is a guy whose story baseball needs, right? And that's why I think the Culture Club is going to lean on putting him in, is because his story is a great baseball story,
Especially coming out of the steroid era.
Yep.
Like he's one of the first he's part of the first generation of post-steroid era.
That's right.
And it's really important for baseball.
It is.
So I agree with you. Baseball family, let us know what you think. Did we get it right? Did we miss somebody? I'm sure we did. I mean, there was plenty to choose from.
121 seasons? Come on.
Yeah, and one thing I was actually shocked about was like going through. I was like, well, it's no wonder they didn't win for a long time.
Yeah,
and it's like them with the Cubs. Same thing. It was because there are a lot of guys who are important to the franchise, played well relative to like Baseball Reference gives the top 24 players with their according to their WAR for the franchise.
They do, and
there are guys in there who it's like he was a pretty good player, but he's not Mount Rushmore material. Like Nomar Garciaparra is top 24. I was a huge Nomar fan. That's part of the reason I like.
Everybody loves Nomar. Yeah, let's be honest.
But I would never put him on anybody's Mount Rushmore.
I don't think I would either. Same with Wade Boggs. Like he's great, but is he on the Mount Rushmore? I don't think so.
I don't think
That's
so.
personal opinion. But
maybe of fried chicken eaters, but not of baseball players. So
yeah. That's Bobby Doerr, though, is another great one. Like, he could go on the Mount Rushmore. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, but let us know what you think. Submit to the mailbag on baseballtogether.com.
Don't forget to jump on the shop at 9plusus.com. That's NINEPLUSUS.com. 9plusus.com. That's where you can shop all the sweet merch that we're wearing right now. Brad's got his Pirate Baseball cap on and his Arizona-themed Baseball Together t-shirt. I'm wearing my Bronx-themed Baseball Together t-shirt and my Baseball Things cap in natural with a black visor. It's terrific. I wear this out all the time, and like we mentioned earlier today, can't believe it's not dirty yet, so it's very exciting.
For sure. Don't forget to go to baseballtogether.com, again, where you can watch the podcast, you can listen to the podcast. Again, submit to the mailbag. We love mailbag questions. It's easy to get to just in the navigation. Click submit to mailbag, go down, fill out the form, send it to us, and we will answer your question on the show. We actually have one coming up because we weren't able to get to all of them last time.
No, we weren't.
So we're going to have another mailbag episode coming up here pretty soon. Can't wait to get to it. And baseball family, thanks for joining us. We will catch you next week.